Well, I have good news, kind of. You can pre-order, well, pretty soon, you can pre-order your Nintendo Switch 2 in the United States. The pre-orders have been opened up. I found out about it today. I don't know when the actual, I don't know when it actually was decided. I just found out about it, and so if I'm just now finding out about it, you guys probably just need to find out about it. This is not a super edited, put together video because I want you guys to be able to see it, but this is up over on Nintendo.com. We've got, this is how they put it. Retail pre-orders for Nintendo Switch 2 will begin on April 24th, 2025. That's next Thursday at the time of recording. At launch, the price for the Nintendo Switch 2 in the US will remain as announced on April 2nd at $449.99, and the Nintendo Switch 2 plus Mario Kart World Bundle will remain as announced at $499.99. Pricing for both physical and digital versions of Mario Kart World, which are $79.99 or $80, Donkey Kong is $70, will also remain unchanged. So the initial price of consoles, and it seems like all game prices that we know of, are not going to change. Nintendo is just going to eat the cost of the tariff. I've got some thoughts on that, but before we move on to that, let me tell you what is going to take a hit. Nintendo Switch 2 accessories will experience price adjustments from those announced on April 2 due to changes in market conditions. Other adjustments to the price of any Nintendo product are also possible in the future depending on market conditions. We apologize for the retail pre-order delay and hope that this reduces some of the uncertainty for our customers. So let's look at some of these prices. The Nintendo Switch 2, $450. The bundle is $500. Mario Kart World is $80. Donkey Kong Bonanza is $70. The Pro Controller is up a little bit to $85, which I don't know exactly how much these were going to cost to begin with, but it seems like most of the accessories are somewhere, from what I can find online, between $5 and $10 more expensive. Joy-Cons for 2 is going to be right at $95. The charging grip is going to be $40. The strap for the Joy-Con is going to be $14. The wheel set is going to be $25. The camera is $55, which is at $5 more. I do know that was set at $50 before. The dock is $120. Carrying case and screen protector are $40. All-in-one carrying case is going to be $85. The Switch 2 AC adapter, so the charger, is $35. And then the Nintendo branded micro SD card express, those are going to be $60. So what does that mean for us? Well, good and bad. The good is that games and console are staying the same price, so we don't have anything to worry about there. And it seems like the things that are going up in price are not necessarily the things that are needed. For as far as we can tell, the Switch 1 Joy-Cons and the Switch 1 Pro Controller are both going to be compatible with the Switch 2. So, unless you really, really care about those back buttons on the Switch 2 Pro Controller, if you have a current Pro Controller, you're probably going to be fine, and I personally doubt that it's going to make much of a difference. If I'm being completely honest, that controller is probably just fine for the Switch 2. I imagine everything about it will work just like the Switch 2 controller, minus those back buttons. Shoot, it's possible that if you're in Target or Walmart or wherever you buy your controllers, that the Switch 1 Pro Controller will remain cheaper than the Switch 2 Pro Controller because of stock that already exists in the store. So maybe if you don't have either controller, you might still pick up the first one because it will be a little bit less expensive. Joy-Cons, that one's a little bit harder because the previous Joy-Cons are supposed to work, but of course they're not going to slot in because they use a rail system instead of the magnet system. So that one's a little bit harder, but the Switch 2 will come with 2 Joy-Cons, so maybe that won't make much of a difference to too many people. And it looks like most carrying cases, like if you have a Satisfy all-in-one carrying case, the grip won't necessarily fit, or it won't. It will not, as far as I know, fit the Switch 2, but the carrying case might still work. And if you have some of the bulkier, more spacious carrying cases for your Switch 1, most of those will probably work with the Switch 2. There's a good chance that since almost all of the Switch 1 accessories work, the Mario Kart wheel will probably work, so you don't necessarily need the small Joy-Con wheel accessory, or you could just use an original Joy-Con, because those work with an original Joy-Con wheel if you already have that, or if you don't, those will probably be cheaper, I suspect. And then, of course, the Micro Express SD card. Yes, it is going up in price if you get the Nintendo one, but even for the Switch one, I have always recommended that you do not buy the one that actually is branded Nintendo Switch, because it is significantly more cost efficient to buy just any micro SD card that is fast enough. Do the same thing here. Let's see. Anything else I want to say about that? Nope. Okay. Let's talk a little bit about my theory, though. I'm very grateful that there will be no price change for the system due to tariffs. Doug Bowser actually went on record saying that the $450 price was not a price that factored in the tariffs. I want to believe that. A lot of me kind of doesn't believe it, because it also seems just as, I mean, not to be a negative Nancy, but it also seems likely to me that Nintendo got a lot of backlash over the Nintendo Switch 2 being so expensive. Like, literally, I was watching the Mario Kart Direct. I was actually working on a video about that when this news broke, so I'll try to get to that soon, but this seems more important. But when I was watching the live stream on YouTube of the Mario Kart Direct, everybody in the comments was drop the price, drop the price, drop the price. That is all that I've seen, both talking about, or both at the Treehouse, at the Mario Kart Direct, whether it's drop the game price or drop the Switch price. A lot of people have not been happy about this pricing thing. Other sides of the fence suggest that the Switch is actually fairly priced. I think that's actually probably true for what we're getting and the state of the economy in our world right now, not even considering tariffs. That's probably true. I don't fully understand why game prices, like why Mario Kart is $80. That's the whole premises of the next video that I'm going to be releasing. So if you're not subscribed, make sure to subscribe if that interests you. I'm going to be talking about why that game might be $80 or why it maybe isn't worth it. I'm delving into that. Anyway, all that to say, a lot of people were upset about it, and by reviewing the price for tariffs and then deciding to eat the cost, I think it actually causes Nintendo to possibly try to garner some favor back with the public. I'm not gonna bet on it, but I wouldn't be surprised if people say, well, you know, Nintendo did charge a lot, but they're eating the cost, so it's okay. I don't know. It seems like maybe that could be the answer. I don't know. And while this is not a political podcast, a political channel, let's talk a little bit about these tariffs, because some of you that are keeping up and well informed with the world might be saying, well, Webby Pumpkin, I thought that there was going to be a delay on these tariffs, like 90 days, and that is true. The president did pause higher import duties for dozens of countries for 90 days, as reported by NBC. But there are still, even though there's a pause on the higher tariffs, there's still a 10% tariff on all countries that took effect on April 5th. So no matter what the country is, everybody, 10%, that is currently active as it stands. Well, what does that mean? How is Nintendo probably eating these costs, and why are the accessories going up? Well, we know that the Nintendo Switch 2 is being manufactured in Vietnam. Vietnam is now still under a 10% tariff, so it's not that big of a hit for them. You know, what would that be on the regular Switch unit? They're losing like right at $40 or something, closer to $50 on the bundle. And so, and everything that I've seen about the manufacturing cost of the Switch 2 seems to imply that it's costing Nintendo about $400 to make the system. If that's true, then Nintendo will be selling these almost at cost. They'll make a slight, very small little profit, which isn't that crazy when you consider that Xbox and Sony both sell their systems at a loss. And the Nintendo Switch 1, Nintendo actually sold it at a profit. They actually didn't lose any money on any Switch that they sold. They won't lose money on this one. They just won't make as much in the US as they probably would like to make. When you consider all that, it's not that big of a hit for them. But many accessories are actually manufactured in China and other countries. And if you guys remember from the screen that I had pulled up just a second ago, I'll bring it back up. China, while there's a 90-day break, China is still at 125%. Guys, I'm not a mathematician, but 125% tariff is higher than a 10% tariff. So in some ways, we may have actually gotten lucky. I suspect that Nintendo is moving some of their accessories over to places like Vietnam or other countries where it will not be quite as expensive to ship them in the US and in Canada as it would be if they remained in China or countries that these tariffs are going to heavily affect. So yeah, there's a price increase, but they have to do a little bit to try to remanufacture, if I'm right, to manufacture it somewhere else, and it could be much more expensive if they continue to manufacture in China. I don't think that they're doing that. I don't have any proof of it, but I don't think they're doing that. Well, some of my astute viewers, some of you guys might remember also that, all right, well, Webby Pumpkin, I understand that tariffs are happening everything, but I thought in the US that there would not be a tariff on electronics. And you would have thought right. Here is AP News. Confusion reigns after Trump exempts electronics from new tariff regime. Here's what we know. They are exempt. Electronics are exempt. Is the Nintendo Switch 2 an electronic? Well, by George, yes it is. But for whatever flippin' reason, here in the US, it's a toy. It's a toy. Video game consoles not included in tech tariff exemptions. Here we have right now, let's see, but what's not included in the carve-out is video game consoles, which fall under a trade classification for toys, not technology. So we live in a day and age where a mini computer in our hands is a toy, which I guess I kind of get, and not an electronic, even though it's a circuit board and a CPU and a GPU and a fan and a battery and everything else that you expect from electronics. That is a different tangent. All that to say, the Nintendo Switch 2 will not, it won't see any benefits from being electrically powered because it's considered a toy. That's all that I've got. I just wanted you guys to know what it was looking like. You can get your pre-order next Thursday. GameStop is throwing them up. I think you can get them at Best Buy, Target, probably at Amazon, just wherever. And then if you guys had a Nintendo Switch Online account and put in an interest through Nintendo's website, I haven't received an email yet, but I presume that those emails will also start rolling out this week, maybe before Thursday, just to let you know what's happening. But knowing Nintendo, they barely even give us a 24-hour notice for Nintendo Directs. Probably on Thursday you can expect to see those emails. So stay vigilant, stay ready. This thing is still going to be expensive. I am excited about it. This really isn't even a biased take. I'm not sharing with you what I think is good, what I think is bad. I just want you guys to be able to get one, and I'd rather you people who actually love gaming and love consoles, I'd rather you get one than a computer or a scalper. So reserve your spot, get your console, and let's have fun gaming. That's what this is about anyway, right? It's the love of gaming. It's the love of these IPs and these characters. And times are tough, and life it'd be lifing and all that, but at least we don't have to pay any more for the Nintendo Switch. So what can I tell you? That's it. Guys, if you enjoyed this video, please consider liking, comment on it. I want to know your thoughts about the Switch because I'm sure you have thoughts. Subscribe if you haven't already. Like I said, I've got a video coming out about that Mario Kart and why it might be $80 and why I think that it might not be worth it and all that good stuff. So if that interests you, check it out. I've got some other videos on the channel that I've already done. I'm trying to get more active with YouTube again. So if any of that interests you, please check it out. I appreciate you. If you'd like to chat with me live, I stream every Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday over at twitch.tv/WebbyPumpkin. I'd love for you to come hang out, talk about the Switch with me, talk about other games that I'm playing with me, talk about your grandma's favorite cat. I don't care. Just come and hang out. Thank you so much for watching this video. Thank you so much for being an avid gamer, and I hope you have a fantastic weekend. I'll see you in the next one.